Okay, let me share the screen. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So as somebody asked me that, sir, we would like to learn about Linux. And that is what the session is. Entire thing. Linux is nothing but a Unix. A flavor of Unix is Linux. That day, we have tried to show you something. This one. I hope everybody has got that particular document. This is the step-by-step how you create an AWS instance like this. Because unless you have done this, unless you have created, I have given the same name, Learning Unix, and my key is Unix Learning. So everything has been mentioned over here. How to document, that is how to create a AWS account in AWS. So I would like not to go through it again. I would like you to each and everyone to create this account. Otherwise, you will not be able to practice yourself. This is a AWS free tier. So it will be 12 months of free tier access. It is 1 year. So in 1 year, you can learn a lot of things. But without cloud, it will be very difficult to learn all the tools. It's a personal contact information, whatever. There is a payment information, but it will ask for you the credit card details or the debit card details. I think both of them are required. Anyway, don't hesitate to give the details. Even if you don't have a credit card, try to get one. Okay, because they will not charge you. There is a Government of India law that they cannot auto debit from your credit card unless you have an usage. You will pay for that usage only. They can raise the bill, but they cannot take automatically from your debit card or credit card. Clear? So create your identity. This is a support plan. Go for a support plan, which is a basic plan, free plan for 12 years, 12 months, 1 year. So you select your role that, and if you say my role is student, then you know they don't charge you even for the minimum amount. And you say I'm interested in learning, so they will, AWS will know that you are learning for certification. Okay, then they give a lot of concession. AWS account login and create EC2 instance. Then how you log in into your AWS? Just now you have created that account. You will log into this account and create an EC2 image or EC2 instance. I have given all the steps. You just follow it. See, free tier, T2 micro. This is the machine that you select. You edit the security group and create a new security group and do all these things. That I have given everything, every details. You have to create a new pair, then launch, download the key pair. And that is the key pair that I have downloaded. You see, while I tried to create one, see, this is the PEM file. So here you will download the PEM file, the private key file .pem. I will expand it a bit. Can you see the screen now correctly? So the PEM file is the private key file that will be downloaded. I also have downloaded and kept it in a particular folder. Then I have used a Putty gen. Now you have to install Putty. You have to install Putty. You know from where you will get Putty. You just go to the net. Just go to the net and say install Putty on Windows. So download Putty. Putty. I think I have discussed that. You can download from here. Okay. And once you download Putty, your Putty gen will also be installed. So you can just invoke the Putty gen. Putty gen. Generate a Putty key. So there is, you have to load your file. Where is that file? That file is in a particular folder. That PIM file. You just take it over here, copy this, and you open any file, and there you will get the PIM file. Okay. And then open it. I'm not going to give because everything is detailed here. You just go through this document. And how the next screen, this is the screen, how you open that, all this thing. You have to save the private key. Okay. You save the private key. Then you are getting the .ppk file. And once you have generated the ppk file, you can log in to Ubuntu. Now that is what I'm going to do now. Because to teach you Unix, I have to go and get my Unix login. So can anybody tell me what is the first step that I'm going to do? I will go there. I will, this is the instance is stopped, right? This is my AWS EC2 instance. EC2. Don't worry about that. I'm not learning, I'm teaching Unix. I mean that cloud. But at least I know something that I can create an instance and I will start that instance now. It will be running. The instance state is pending now. It will change to running. Then only I will get the public IP address. So now you see it is running. Can everybody see it? Okay. Once this is running, I will just click on this. I get the public IP address. I get the public IP address. I can open a notepad. I will go here. I will copy this IP address. This is the public IP address that I copy. This is the public IP address. Okay. I copied it and I will go here. I will just make a note of it. Public IP address. Sometimes you must ask me a question or maybe you respond. Otherwise, I will not be knowing whether, because then that becomes a one-way traffic. I've just copied it because I want to use it in the Putty. See, this Putty I have created. This is a Putty configuration. Did I put this in the document? Yeah. Configure the Putty terminal. Everything I have given. Please have a look into it. And how many of you have already created this?
স্যার একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল, বলতে পারবো?
হ্যাঁ বলো।
স্যার বলছি যে এই ডকুমেন্টটা আরেকবার একটুখানি গ্রুপে দিয়ে দেবেন, আমি
ওকে
এই
ওকে
রিসেন্ট জয়েন করেছি।
ওকে ওকে শিওর শিওর, আমি পাঠিয়ে দেবো।
ওকে স্যার।
এটাতে তোমরা ফলো করো, এটার প্রত্যেকটি স্টেপ দেওয়া আছে। এটা খুব একটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট ডকুমেন্ট, মানে আমি অনেক সময় নিয়ে করেছি এটা, যাতে তোমরা প্রত্যেকজন এটাকে ফলো করলে তোমাদের ইনিশিয়াল স্টেপটা সেট আপ হয়ে যাবে, কনফিগারেশনটা সেট আপ হয়ে যাবে। এই যে পুটিতে আমি কাজ করছি, এই যে পুটিতে আমি গেলাম, এই যে পুরো ব্যাপারটা কিভাবে আমি সেট করেছি, আমি যেমনি এটাতে ইউনিক্স লার্নিং বলে একটা সেশন তৈরি করেছি। কারণ আমাকে না বারবার, কারণ আজকে আমি পড়ালাম, কালকে আরেকবার পড়াতে হবে, তখন আমি তো সবসময় ওটা খুলে রাখবো না, এই যে এই ইনস্ট্যান্সটাকে খুলে রাখবো না, কারণ আমার 1 বছর হয়ে গেছে অলরেডি। ওকে, তো এখন আমাকে চার্জ করবে, তার জন্য আমি কি করব, আমার ক্লাস বা সেশন হয়ে গেলে আমি এটাকে ডিসকানেক্ট করে দেবো, মানে স্টপ করে দেবো। আর যেহেতু আমি জাস্ট ইউনিক্স দেখাচ্ছি, আমি কোনো ট্রান্সফার করছি না, সরি, since I am using only Unix, okay, even after I have 12 months is already done, it is more than 1.5 years, this instance is there, not instance, I mean this account is there, even not a single paisa has been charged, because I do not use it often. Only when I come to teach, and I will just create a, if after the session is over, most of the time I will terminate. Either I can stop it or I can terminate. So nobody can charge me. Even if you, after the session, if you stop it, or after you have done your learning, if you stop it, no charges. And you will be charged only after 1 year. Okay. Anyway, so I have noted down I have loaded this Unix learning. This is a session that I have created. I only have to change this one, because my current IP address of this, because once you shut down, you stop and then restart, the IP address keeps on changing. It's a new IP address generated, public IP address. So that is what I have to, now I will save this. What are the things that I have done? I have 2 things. I have gone to data, I will put in the Ubuntu, because this is an Ubuntu instance and the user is Ubuntu. Or maybe I will not give it right now here. I will log in with the Ubuntu user. But main thing that I have given is the SSH connection, the authorization. You see, I have used, just now I have converted that PEM file into PPK through Puttygen. Through Puttygen. Through Puttygen, you see. So you can, this step 3, you are converting that PEM file into PPK. That I have already done. And now I'm just picking it up. You see, I have gone into AWS training Linux. Okay, I will go there. You will see it is AWS training Linux. Under this, I have this Unix learning PPK, Putty private key file, PPK. And that is what I have mentioned here, Unix learning PPK. So with this authentication key, I will be authenticated to get in, to use the instance. That is what I will do now. Now, once I have done this, I will just say open. I will say yes. So it is asking for, can you see the screen? Okay,
Yes,
let
sir.
me.
Yes,
Huh?
sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
No, let me make it a bit, I will configure it again. I will first of all load. What was the thing? Unix learning, na? Load. And you see, this is the current IP address. So IP address, This is the port, and this is the SSH connection, secure shell connection. You go there, you check 34, 239, 150, 75. 34, 239, 150, 75. So this thing match. Only that I will change the colors. And first of all, I will like to change the font. What is the font that I would like to give it bold and 12? And it is Courier New Fine. Okay. And also I will like to change the colors. Let my default foreground be this one. Okay. Foreground. And default background, let it be, I will give a hue color. Light blue. So I'm changing the hue color. So that is fine. I will say okay. And now I have to save this. I've done some changes, but because every time I don't want to do it every time. So I will just save it. Okay, now you see when I open this, you see that light hue, light blue color, and the font is bold and it is 14. And you can see it clearly, more clearly, right? So what is the user? Ubuntu is the user. I just press, and now I am being authenticated with the public key. But even if you don't want to give this user again and again, what you can do, I will come out of this. I will again go here. I will load this Unix learning, load. I will go to not behavior, data, connection data. I will mention here what user that I want to auto login, Ubuntu. And then I will save this. See, everything I do, change the configuration, I will save it. Saved it. Now I open it. You see the username was taken automatically. I didn't type anything, right? So now you are under Unix. Followed? You have been authenticated with the public key that you have created, and you are connecting through Open SSH. And you have gone into GNU Linux. That is the standard Unix version. First command that you learn is clear. So whichever commands that we are learning, so better open this one. Okay, I'll just make a note of what are the commands that you are learning. First command that you have learned is, what is that? Just now you have done. Clear. I will save this. I will save to the same place. Linux. Are you following? Just whenever you are in a problem, you let me know. I have gone there. Now I am trying to save something. What is the name that I will give? Unix commands as we learn. Okay, .txt or Unix commands. Unix commands on go. That will be good. That is whatever we are learning, we are just noting it down. So this is the file. So Unix commands on go. Anyway, so clear means you are clearing the screen. Now I will come to all the commands, but today let me give you an introduction to Unix. Acha, another alternative, suppose you are finding it difficult to create an AWS account and all these things, and you wanted to learn Unix, whatever the way that you wanted to. Then you have to download alternative. If you do not want to create a Unix account, AWS EC2 instance. But I will not suggest this one because that is the shortcut, and no one succeeds in a shortcut. You can use Git Bash. Git Bash. You have to install Git. Then only you will get a Git Bash. Install Git on Windows. And Git is your version control system. Because you know, you cannot get Unix installed onto your Windows machine. Why I am telling you is that because you cannot install Unix on a Windows, because Unix and Windows are two different systems, two different operating systems. But you are trying to work on Windows. So that's why I have created an instance, AWS instance, Linux instance over here on a server in the cloud in the North Virginia without any cost. And then I'm accessing from this window through the Putty terminal. That is the best way. But even if you don't try to do that, then what can I can help you only saying that you have to install Git version. So how do you install Git? Any idea? Anyone has installed Git? So you go to this section. Okay. You go to this. What you do? You download Git. You go to this particular URL. You just have to go for Windows installation and click here to download the latest version of, that is the on 64-bit Windows, Git for Windows. If you do that, and installation is very simple, you just say next, 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 and you are done. Clear? If you have installed Git, then you go in the command prompt, not command prompt, you search. You will see Git Bash, Git command application, Git GUI. Nothing is needed, just Git Bash. What is Git Bash? Let's say you are here in this particular folder, D:/Devashish GBS AWS training Linux. Anywhere you are finding any problem, please let me know. Then you can invoke the Git Bash. The Git Bash will be automatically listed. If you say right click on this folder, you can get a Git Bash. I click on that. See, this is on Windows, but it is giving you a Unix interface. All the Unix commands that you are learning will be applicable here. First, what command you have learned? Anyone? The first command that you have learned is clear. Can I also use clear? Can you see the screen first of all? Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I will say clear. So it is working same. So it is like you are doing in a shortcut. I mean, you have not installed Unix, you have not installed the AWS, you have not launched any instance on AWS, you have not created in your account on AWS, you have not created any EC2 instance, you have not created any Putty or PuttyGen, anything. Okay, but you want to learn Unix, then it is fine. That is alternative way that I have given. I will send you this. See, all these recordings and the documents, you are not going to get it unless you complete the entire session. But in the meantime, for your convenience, I will give this commands notepad, Unix commands on Go, so that you can at least start with it. Is that okay? And of course, I will give that document, this document, such that whoever is interested to go the cloud way, and that is the best way, you cannot avoid cloud, I will give you the document again. Please keep this document safely, because it will be all through your career, this will be needed. Suppose you forgot the steps, you can always do that. Okay. So you have to download this. You have to browse, go to this site and go to downloads. That's all. And install the Git for Windows. Okay. Use Git Bash to practice Linux commands on Windows. Basically, you are doing on Windows, but you are simulating a Unix terminal, like the Putty terminal. You have simulated something, and that is through the Git Bash. But I will always suggest go this path. Recommended to go the AWS EC2 instance path. Okay, this is the recommendation. Any questions till this far? Somebody was asking to have a start at this. Okay, I will go. So what is Linux? Can anybody tell me? This is Linux. This instance is a Linux instance. That is, this is a server. It's a Linux server. And then you are connecting through Putty. So Putty is the, oh, there is a connection terminated. Okay, the connection is becoming inactive. Maybe my Wi-Fi is not, today it is giving a lot of problem. But anytime I can again go, load it and just open it. I don't have to, because I have saved the settings. I've logged in. Clear. Okay. So Linux is an operating system. Somebody was asking, what is the Linux? Is an operating system like Windows, like Mac OS. Similarly, there is the Linux, which is a Unix operating system. Linux is a Unix operating system. Clear? Unix is a Unix operating system. Linux is a Unix operating system. It is one of the flavors of Unix. Linux will have a Linux shell. Like you have seen coconut. In a coconut, Okay, let me open a paintbrush. Okay, it's a Unix. So what I can do, I can say this is Unix. Okay, somehow it is like this. So this is let me say this portion is called the outer shell. I mean, this I can say that this is the shell. The outer shell, which is very hard, like a coconut. And this inner one is called the kernel. And you have the coconut's kernel. Kernel is the inner part, the soft part where the coconut actually you eat. And this one, this one is your, this one is the outer shell. And this can be called a Bourne shell, SH, or a corn shell, bash shell, BASH. These are the shell. What is the purpose of this? Kernel is the inner core of the operating system. This is the entire operating system. Unix operating system. Clear? This is called the Unix operating system. It is not Windows operating system. The Unix operating system will have a kernel. This is the kernel. Okay. And this is the shell. So the kernel is the part kernel is the part which manages the device driver and so many other things, which manages the device drivers, interprets the commands given through the shell, the outer shell. Let me see whether I can copy this. This is the user. The user is giving all the commands. The user is trying to access this operating system. So what it does, it gives all the commands. Okay. This is the user. Operates the hardware or operates the OS. Uses, better to say, uses the operating system. The user uses the operating system to run applications. So many things will be done. Followed. So it will interact. It cannot directly interact with the kernel. That is the main thing. It cannot interact with the kernel directly. So it has to come through the shell. And that is what, whenever we write something, that is, we are going to, oh, it has again gone off. I don't know, today there is a lot of networking issue. So whenever I give this command, actually that clear, I want to clear the screen. Where it is coming from, the user has given clear command. User has given clear, user has given PWD, all these commands. User has given echo command that we are going to learn. So all these commands come and get interpreted on where? On this shell. And then it gets processed at the kernel. Is this clear? Let me save the file, save as JPEG picture. And here I will do it over here. I will save it over here as something called Unix OS image. Okay, save. So if I go there, I will see that my Unix OS image, we will give that. You will get it. So this user, whatever the commands, clear, PWD, echo, all this comes into the shell, gets interpreted, and then the shell sends it to the kernel. Kernel will finally process this, and either it can come to on the monitor. So the output of this will go from here. This will come to the monitor, better to say, on a terminal. So let me draw a terminal like this, very simple. Somehow something is like that. That means this is the monitor. This is the monitor where the output will come. So I will say here is the output. Output comes over here. So this is the input. And here is the output. But here is the processing. So I will say kernel processing. Kernel processing is happening over here. And finally, the output comes out onto the terminal. Onto the terminal. This is called the terminal. Something like that. This is the terminal. Is that okay? Any questions? So let me see what this thing is saying. So Linux shell, access, and Linux file system structure. Now, this shell will support the file system structure. We will come to know what is the file system. That is the folders and the files. Like in Windows, what are these? This is a particular folder. You say D:/Devashish, GBS, AWS training, Linux. This is a folder. And what is this? Unix command on go. This is a file. Similarly, and that file system over Windows is called NTFS or NFS, whatever the file system. Similarly, there is a file system over here. So that file system is maintained by Unix shell. The folders and everything, the file structure. So we will also learn the basic Linux or the Unix commands. We will see what are the top 50 of, so again and again it is going. Okay, the top 50 command used in Linux. You need to know how to change the file permissions and ownership, filter commands, simple filter and advanced filter commands, start and stop services. You might not, this filter commands and start and stop services, you might not know because you are just learning the fundamentals. If you're working on AWS, you must know how to start and stop the services. But initially you do not need. Working with the environment variables, that is important. Find and kill the process with ID and name, that is okay. You do not need to understand package installation with RPM and yum. But you have to learn a bit of shell scripts. So let us go to the second slide. What is Linux? Linus Torvalds. You have heard this name. He's a famous person. In 1991, released the first version of Linux kernel. Operating system kernel is the core software. See, the kernel is the core software. This is the kernel. Is the core software because operating system is a software used to communicate with computer hardware. So this is the hardware. See, the kernel is processing the device driver. So all the hardware and also the terminal, which is the monitor or the printer maybe. So all these are the hardware. Maybe this is called a printer. So something like this can go. Okay, so this can be output. So here again, I will say output. So this is an output. Either the output can come to your terminal, to the screen, or it can go to the printer. But whatever, it is managing the hardwares and devices. Also, it will manage the users. So the kernel is the core software used to communicate with computer hardware. It's a core and modular system of drivers used to create a resource manager for allocating memory and time to system and user processor, as well as interacting with the files. So everything the kernel will do, like the file IO, input output, it can read a file, it can write to a file. So all this input output will be handled by kernel through the shell commands, of course. It will manage the users, it will manage the processes and applications, it will manage the CPU, manage the memory, manage all the hardware devices. Okay, even the mouse, even the keyboard, everything will be managed by the kernel, because the kernel knows how to get the instructions processed and give the instructions to the devices, to the CPU memory. It will handle the memory. Kernel operates in its own memory or kernel space. Any questions up to here? Okay. So now, if that is, are you there? Is anybody? 13 people are there.
Sir, I have a question.
Can anybody? Can you? What's your name?
Sir, my name is Nilanjan Mukherjee.
Nilanjan. No, I know.
Sir, I am facing some problem in setting a putty. Sir, can you?
Can you share your screen? Do you know how to share the screen?
Okay, here is the option is share screen. So
I will stop the sharing.
Okay.
I have stopped the sharing. You can now share your screen.
Sir, here I can see host disable participant screen sharing. Option is enabled.
Oh, acha. Participant screen sharing is disabled, no?
Yes, sir.
Sushmita, how to enable that?
Sir, there is an option in security. There, if you just write that options share screen, then you can the participant can other person can share.
Okay, where is that option? Where I get it?
So
I am
there is
getting.
after start video, then there is an option in security.
No. Start video from where?
From your page, from your desktop. That screen is visible to you from there. Participants after left side, you can see that there is an option security.
Yes, security. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There
Allow.
is an option sharing screen. If you if there is right sign is visible, then participant can also share. Anyone can share.
So can I? How do I enable?
Yeah, you have to enable.
Allow participants. Okay, right. Now, Nilanjan, can you share your screen? I have enabled the screen sharing for the participants. Can you share the screen, Nilanjan? Very good. But your screen is coming a bit hazy. Now it's fine. So what? This is your AWS terminal. Can you show me your AWS screen? Oh, you have logged in. Very good. Fantastic. Then it's fine. Then that means it's correct. I don't need to see it. I know it is working. Instances. You just go to Linux Learning. Just click on the box, checkbox, just on the left. Yes. So 34 to 229. You just copy it. Copy it. Okay. Just go to Putty. It is okay. It is fine. Then where are you getting problem? Your terminal. Oh, your SSH connection type port is 22. Okay. You go to SSH. Just under connection, there is under connection on the left hand side. On the left hand side, just go down connection. There is SSH. Click on it. Go to auth. You have to give this private key. Did you create that putty keygen? Puttygen. Did you convert that file? Very good. Very good. Open. Okay. Now go to the session. Create a session. Just give a name. Just save session. Just give a name. Okay. Learning AWS. Learning Unix, not AWS. You are not learning it. Just say Unix. Save. First of all, you save it. Save. Okay. Now, any other changes that you want to do? Let's say you go to data, connection data. Connection, under connection data, click on data. In this auto login username, you can type in Ubuntu. Is this an Ubuntu? Yeah. The instance, is it Ubuntu image? Nilanjan?
Hello, sir.
Hello. Is that is the Linux system that you have launched? Is it a Ubuntu system? Ubuntu?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ubuntu. Yes.
Ubuntu. So you just put in the auto login username as Ubuntu, small letters, because the default user is Ubuntu. Okay. Just go to session. No, capital, small.
Okay.
Go to session. Session.
Yes, session.
Save. Because whatever changes you are doing, keep on saving.
Okay, sir.
Save. Then go to colors. Colors. Default foreground. You make it almost black. Go to modify. Modify. You go to just come down. 1, 2, 3, 4. From where your basic color is there. No, don't go there. Don't go there.
Okay.
You come to make it black.
This one?
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Mm.
And go to default background. Third option. Yes. Modify. You make it that blue. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th on the topmost from the left. Yeah. You can make that. Okay. Then go to session, save it. Save it. Then go to appearance. And you go to font change. There is a button called change.
Yeah.
Yes. You can make it bold, but you can give it 14 or 12.
Okay, 14.
Yeah. Okay, now save it again.
7 and 7.
Bas, that's all. Then you try to open it. Fantastic. Now see, you have logged into Ubuntu.
Okay, so can I stop sharing now?
Yes. This was the problem or something else?
No, sir. This is no problem.
Fine.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Thank you. Very good. So I will start sharing the screen. So everybody, did you see how Nilanjan has configured his system? You also try from your end. I think you should be able to. If not, you please consult Nilanjan as if you are friends, if you know each other, then you can consult Nilanjan and you can mutually work as a team to. Otherwise, you have that document. I will send it again. Let me share the screen again. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
So the Linux shell, now we are coming to the shell that we have said, this is the kernel, this is the kernel, this is the outer shell. And that is very important because as a user, you will always interact with the shell. You do not directly interact with the kernel. You are the user, you interact with the shell. On user login, the system runs the shell. So once you log in, like now, just now, Nilanjan has logged in, or I will be logging in. Once I do that, that means as a user, I have just logged in. That means I am open to this shell. If I say echo $shell in capitals, I am seeing that I am using a bash shell. So what is the next command that we have learned? Let me highlight this. Echo is one command, and you are trying to echo one variable, and variable in Unix you say always with a $, and this is the variable, environment variable. This is called the environment variable of so echo shell. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So echo shell, what it is doing, it is giving me bin bash. So this is the bash. So as we were discussing, there are two types of shell. One is the Bourne shell, which is sh, and another is bash. Okay. Now we go to our document. It is saying a shell is the environment within which you will interface with the kernel. See, you do not interact with the kernel directly. It is through the shell that you interact with the kernel, correct? Like if you want to print something onto the printer, or maybe you want to get something output onto the terminal, like this. Then you give commands, appropriate commands to the Unix shell, the bash or the shell, sh, and that will go to the kernel. Kernel will process that instruction, and then it will either go to the terminal or the output will come to the printer. So shell is very important, and whatever commands that you give, like these commands, all these commands will work on the shell itself. The shell determines the syntax for a complex command line operations and shell scripting. So you can give complex command line operations, or you may compile, you can combine all those shell commands into a group of commands or a multiple line commands. And that is you can do through the shell scripting. That means you create a file having multiple commands, and that is called shell script file, scripting file. The shell you are using is called bash. The successor to the venerable Bourne shell called sh. So sh was the old and depleted, obsolete. This sh shell is no longer being used because it has some, it is old. It has been replaced by the bash shell. So all the Linux flavors, all the Unix flavors that you see nowadays will all be of the bash. The shell is bash. Therefore, when you go here, when you see echo shell, echo dollar shell, you are going to get bash shell. So I clear it. If I say env, okay, let me give env. These are the various environment variables. env, okay, let me write this. How will you check what is there in the environment, in your environment? env will give you all the environment variables, out of which there is, you will find there is one shell environment variable. And that is what you are echoing. So you are echoing dollar shells, because these are all the environment variables. Shell. Or if you want to echo, what is that? Who is the username? So the log name. Who has logged in? Who is the user now? Echo. Will it work? Anyone? It is giving me log name. Why? Because I have not given the dollar sign. Dollar sign will indicate to the shell that this is a, you are trying to find out something, environment variable. So again, I will write this. Now, this time I will give dollar log name. Now you see it's an Ubuntu user. So let me also put down this. Echo log name. It gives you Ubuntu. So these are the environment variables. This is, so I will put this one on top after clear, so that you know the environments and then you are echoing one by one. Okay. Another way, these are all the shell commands. These are what I'm going is giving it to the shell, and the shell will take it to the, therefore you see, when I say echo log name, it is giving Ubuntu, but giving it where? It is giving the output onto the terminal, onto the screen. That is coming through the kernel. It is processed, that is processed, and it is giving you the result, but on the terminal. Okay. Another way to know the user who have logged in the system. Can anybody tell me? You can say, who am I? Whenever you say who am I, then it is giving Ubuntu. Okay, let me write this. So every command that I will learn, or we will learn together, we will write it. Who am I? Ubuntu. And this document I'm going to send you, because otherwise you will not be able to practice it. Who am I? If I say ID, see, I'm directly going to the, because we don't have too many sessions. So I will not waste so much of time on theory. Theory is fine. Theory we will of course do, but we will at the same time learn the commands as well. ID, what it is going to give? It is giving me a lot of information. It is giving me the user ID of Ubuntu user is 1000. Okay, let me copy this one. So when I say ID, I say UID. UID is the user ID. ID is with a number called 1000, and Ubuntu is the user. What is GID? Can anybody tell me what is GID?
Group ID.
Group ID. Yes, very good. And you see the group ID and the UID is the same. And in this case, the group ID is also Ubuntu. Groups is 1000. That means whenever a user will be created, and this user, did you create it, or whenever the AWS instance was created, the user was also created. That's why you are giving Ubuntu as the user. So Ubuntu user was created when you have installed the AWS instance, EC2 instance, right? And whenever a user is created, it is created with the same group. So a user belongs to the same group. This you do not need to. This is the admin, but the user has been given the sudo power, sudo. We will learn that. But it has access to all the privileges. CD-ROM, floppy, it can access. It is a sudo power. It is having a root privilege. Audio, deep, video, plug dev, net. And there is one beautiful thing. Echo $home. Now, for this Ubuntu user, any user created will be created with home, that username. Clear? So you are also getting this. I will copy this. You please let
Sir,
me
tell me again, what is the task of home?
I will tell you. Definitely. So echo home. It is giving me home Ubuntu. Because my user is Ubuntu, I have logged in as Ubuntu. Who am I is Ubuntu. So Ubuntu will always land onto a folder. These are called folders. Now, ls minus
L.
Okay, there is nothing because this user is just created. ls minus all. It gives you all the hidden files. Dot files are the hidden files. You will normally not be able to see that. So I will give you the command. I'm coming to that. What is home? ls minus long. This L gives you, ls is the listing and minus L is long listing. So a combination ls minus L is a long listing. And another thing is ls minus all. So better to say minus all gives you the listing, long listing, because L is there. A for all and L is for the long listing. All gives you all the long listing of all the files and folder. All the files and folders, even if it is hidden. Even if it is hidden. Hidden files and folders are with dot. with dot. So I'm giving within double quotes. What is happening here? If I say, let me clear it, ls minus all. You see, can you tell me what is this dot? Single dot.
It is a first directory,
It is the current directory.
current directory.
Current directory. So there is another command. I will come to that. And this is dot dot means the parent directory, parent folder. Okay. Let me come to another very important. These are all related. PWD. You see, this is home Ubuntu. I'm always giving the prompt. PWD is the present working directory. Directory is nothing but a folder. So you are asking, please give me where I am currently. What is my present working directory? And you say that your present working directory, the kernel gives you the output as home Ubuntu. Because any user, whenever it logs in to its home directory. And so the home directory is /home/ gives you the folder structure, directory structure. So from the root / it is home. Under home, there is another directory called Ubuntu. So any user logging in first time, it will be, we will create users, we will create multiple users. But let me see. Okay, if you say cd ... where are you?
Only home. Current
It has gone from Ubuntu, it has gone to the parent. Ubuntu is the child of home. So you can say Ubuntu comes from home because Ubuntu is a folder under home. So home is the parent directory of Ubuntu, correct? When I say cd ... again, where will I end up?
//
That is the root directory. Root. So
Sir,
root
root.
is the parent of Ubuntu, but who is the parent of home? So in that case, the parent of home is the root. Let me check. And how do I check? I will say present working directory, PWD. Let me give. So I am here. Okay. So if I want to change, because I know you have this home environment variable. Where are you now? You are in the root. Do you want to come to the home directory directly? So you can say cd $home. That's all. You just say PWD on to home Ubuntu. Okay. I will just write it down. As we move, we keep on writing. So you will see this notepad becomes a huge document for you. So after that, we have used a command called cd ... This is nothing but change directory. CD means change directory to the parent folder or the parent directory.
Sir, can you repeat cd pwd home again?
I will. So when I say that I'm in present working directory, what is the PWD? I am right now under Ubuntu folder directory. This is the directory. I will say this is a directory. This Linux is a directory under AWS training. AWS training is a directory under GBS. GBS is a directory under Devashish. Devashish is a directory under D drive. So can I say that Devashish is a child of D drive and GBS, or Devashish is the parent of GBS, or GBS is the child of Devashish folder? So this is the various folder. So the last folder, the present working directory is Linux. So if I want to go back to one step ahead, I mean not ahead, back. That means I want from child, I want to go to AWS training, to the parent. What do? You say back arrow. Oh, sorry. Better to say I'm coming to Linux. You are in Ubuntu. You said cd ... and where did you get that cd ... If you check, you are in the current directory Ubuntu. Ubuntu has all these hidden files. And how do you say that this is a particular folder? How? Because there is the bit called D. This is a folder. Which one? .ssh. These are all hidden files and hidden folder. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 hidden files and 2 hidden folders. So folders are in blue color. It may come to some other color in your terminal. Depends on your setting of Putty. But if you check on the left hand side, you will see D. Anyway, don't worry. So this Ubuntu is a folder where the user first, when logs in, will come to the home folder. Home Ubuntu. That is the home directory of Ubuntu user. I want to go to home. I want to cd, change the directory from this to this. I will say ... Or you can say, no, better I will say ... There are so many ways to do it. So if you check pwd, you are now under home. Is that clear? Now, if you ask me, sir, how do I go back to Ubuntu? I have to move forward. So to move forward, I will say Ubuntu. Okay, from home, you just see ls -all. Do you see one folder? There is only one folder, Ubuntu directory. How do you go to this folder? I have to come to this because maybe I would like to work on this. cd . How do I come to this?
So cd Ubuntu
Oh,
dollar.
yeah, correct. So see, I have moved forward. Here I have moved backward. Is it clear? That means I have come down to Ubuntu cd. There are so many other ways. I have gone back. I have given repeat this command, repeat the previous command of cd. So this cd was the last command, and the previous to that was you have gone to this. So you are wanting to, if you give a dash, cd dash, I will just put that. Okay. There is another way. Suppose you are in the root. You are in the root. So where are you? cd / in the root. How do you directly go to your home directory without changing to? You can go to, like, what is the first step? Where will you go? Suppose I want to come back to Ubuntu. Ubuntu folder under home. So do I not need to do that this way? CD first come to home, then go to Ubuntu. Simple. You have to practice all these things. Otherwise, you will not know. Any question? Let's say I have gone to the root. Then if I want to come back to my home of Ubuntu, root folder or directory. Root directory is the parent, the grandfather, or it is the originating. Everything starts from the root slash. Now, if you want to go to home Ubuntu, you can do that. Change directory from root, which is this, to Ubuntu, which is under home. Okay. You can do this way. Another way is, let's say I'm again going back to the root. How can you directly come to the Ubuntu folder? Now, what is the, I'm in the root. How can you directly jump into without typing so much? You can do it by using the environment variable home. Because this user Ubuntu's home is /home/Ubuntu. If you just say this one and say check it with pwd, are you seeing that you have jumped into the home folder of the user Ubuntu? Always in environment variables are all capital. Environment variable. Okay. Now tell me, up to this, you have any problems or not? This is the second session. There are 4 more sessions. We will do a lot of things, but we have to start from the very scratch. These things need to be understood very clearly. There are hundreds of commands. I will save it. Okay. So what will you do? Any questions you might have? Many people have left because they are not finding it interesting in any way, but I will complete it. You tell me. Whoever is left, if you are interested, you can ask me any question up to now. Don't ask me any question which is very advanced right now, because other people might not follow it. But whatever we have learned till now, if I may open this.
Sir, the commands are case sensitive.
Commands are?
Case sensitive.
Very, very good question. Very good question. Okay. You have asked a very important question. Okay. You see, all the Unix commands have to be in small letters. First thing. all the shell commands, note, are in small letters. The options with hyphen, this is hyphen, are also in small letters. The environment variables are always in capital letters. Like home, shell, PWD. There is an environment variable called PWD. Don't worry. There is your, there are many other variables, environment variables. Let me check once. env. Okay, the log name. And you see the PWD is the home Ubuntu. Shell, home. The language, of course, anyway. You see there is an SSH connection, environment variable. If you want to echo SSH connection, we have logged in with a connection. If I check in my instance, let me go and check. Here. 172.31.70.24. 172.31.70.24. You see? This is the private IPv4 address. So, and this is with a connection, SSH connection, and with the port 22. If you go there, Putty, you see the port is 22 and the connection is SSH. Okay, that is what it is showing. Port is 22 and your IP address is internal IP. This is not the public IP address. The internal IP address, the private IP address. And that is nothing but the same as this one. So now this one, so this SSH connection is one environment variable. What is the other log name? Log name, then user. These are all, this has to be all in capital letters. All the environment variables, see? Oh, and very important one is path. The path is one of the most important environment variable, like the shell, like the home. So somebody was asking me, what will be the case? The case, it is very case sensitive. Like, if you had given CD dollar home. CD command not found because you have given in capital letter. But you see CD small dollar home is working. If you had said PWD capital, it is PWD command not found, but PWD is there, the present working directory. But if you say echo dollar PWD, it will not work because there is no environment variable with a small PWD. But if you say echo dollar PWD, it is giving you the present working directory. Okay, I will shift to one position up. So where I am, I can say echo PWD. Where what will it give? It will give /home. /home. So that is case sensitivity. I cannot give echo and $PWD. That is wrong because echo in that case is not found. And echo is small letter and you have given PW is also some, this will also not work. So that is the case sensitive. Clear? This is node. Any other question that you might have at this point before we end today's session? Okay, let me have a look at the, so up to this we have done. Let us go to the next page. Popular Linux distributions. We will do some hands-on and then some theory. What are the popular distributions of Linux? One of that we are using is Ubuntu. You have created an instance called Ubuntu. But then there is Red Hat Enterprise, Red Hat. This is another flavor of Linux. But more or less, every one of them, if you know the basic commands of Unix, every one of them are the same. Only few things vary. The packages that you are not going to learn now because that is an advanced concept. Fedora, Amazon Linux. Many people in the Amazon create an image of or instance of this Amazon Linux. SUSE, CentOS, Debian, Arch Linux. These are the various flavors of Linux, out of which Red Hat Enterprise Linux is very popular, then Ubuntu is very popular. We are learning Ubuntu. Not learning, basically all of them are the same commands, some difference. Debian is also very popular. Any questions? 5. Linux account and access. To access a Linux account, you need to have an account that you already have, at least Nilanjan is having. A Linux account includes the following: username and password, UID and GID. Now this is the user ID and GID. So that means the Ubuntu has come along with that Linux instance. A home directory, which is where you are placed by default when you log in. That is what we are saying. This is the home directory. Any user that you create or Ubuntu has been created, so that will come into, wherever somebody logs in, it will be always under the username home / that user. Then you are logged into a default shell. What is the shell in our case? In every case, it will be bash. Introducing to Open SSH. SSH is the secure shell. You have connected over a secure shell. Secure shell supports a file transfer subsystem, SCP. SCP is nothing but a form of copy. There is a command called copy, CP. And then there is a file transfer protocol, SCP, over the secured cell, over the SSH or the secured shell. Connection. Okay. If I go there in my Linux account, if I go to my security group, okay, let me not go like this. This is my AWS instance. I will go to my security group. Security. And this is my security group. I click on this. Then I go to edit inbound rules. Do you see that there is an SSH connection? And that is nothing but using a TCP protocol. And the port is 22. So I have made this security connection. That means the connection I have enabled SSH. Now, let me delete this. Fine. I have deleted this. Now I save the rules. So I have a security group which does not have any SSH connection. So let me go back. Let me exit from here. Let me come back here. And I will try to connect it over Unix Learning, load it. I'm using SSH. Let me see whether it connects. Open. Oh, it connects. Why? You know, you have given in the security group inbound rules, you have given all traffic. So all traffic includes the SSH as well. If you take out that SSH, all traffic, you will not be able to connect. It is getting connected. Okay, all TCP. Sorry. So basically, these are all TCP connection. Do you see that it is not connecting? Because SSH connection is on top of TCP. I have taken that TCP, all TCP is out. Now it is not being able to connect. So network connection timed out because it is not getting. It tried for several times, but it could not. Why? Because you have taken out that. So I will add that. Add a rule. I will say all TCP, and also I will add SSH, and also I will let it be open for everything. all traffic. Save rules. Okay, now I will try again. Now it's working. So today, up to this. Okay. So we have covered. I will show you how to connect. Okay, let me show you. This is with a connection of that. So I will show you how to connect from. This is from the TCP you have done. Another way to connect directly using the SSH command. I have gone to my shell. I mean, this is the bash, Git Bash. Where are you? You are under Devashish D:\Devashish GBS AWS training Linux. And in this, you have ls-l. This all commands, Unix commands will work. I have that ppk file. ppk, yes, Unix learning ppk. So I can give, and the PEM file. So I can give, I want to connect to Unix. This is also Unix flavor, but it is not actually, it has not connected to the SSH -i. I will give this file name. Minus identity file. This is the identity file. This is, I have given the identity file SSH with the identity file Unix learning PEM. And what is the user? Ubuntu. And what is the IP address? Public IP address. Because I'm connecting from the external side, not internally. I am outside. My public IP address is this. So I'll copy this and paste it. Can I press enter? Let's see. I want to match a fingerprint because that fingerprint is there with the PEM file. See, I have logged in using directly the SSH command. So I can also put in that SSH command over here. Whatever we learn, we will put it here. SSH-i. What was the file name? You can give within quotes also. No, not a problem. .pem. And then you say Ubuntu. @ What is the public IP address? Copy this. This is how you connect externally without using putty. Everybody can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what I've done is I have connected through my bash shell or the SSH connection -i identity file. What is the identity file? Unix learning.pem, which is the public key. And then I'm using the user and I'm using the IP address to connect. So this is very important command to know. Otherwise, you might not always, suppose there is no keyword authentication, key file authentication, then you can just say SSH, this one. That's all. You can directly connect. But because we have protected our instance by a key pair, you see the key pair is Unix learning. Therefore, because this is for security, therefore I am using a public key authentication using this one. That's all. Clear?
Yes,
Any
sir.
questions till now? I will send you today this file and also that how you create that AWS instance. That means this document. These two documents I'm going to send you. Don't ask me for the recording or for other documents right now, because that is a management policy that whoever completes and whoever passes this thing, one test, okay, those persons will be eligible to get all the documents along with the recordings. There will be some evaluation test. Clear? Did you learn something today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We will learn a lot.
Yes, sir.
We will learn a lot. Just you go through this, wherever little notes I wanted to give, I have given, but this will be enough. You have to practice it. You have to see for yourself. If you can do that, then all your, these things will be very simple for you. But unless you know this, you will not be able to know lots of things in your IT world. So Unix, you know Windows. Windows is all graphical. But Unix is, most of the thing is CLI. That is, it is command line interface. Command line, you have to give commands, CLI. And most of the applications that you support, that you do, will be on CLI. So you must learn Unix. I am stopping my share, and I will also stop the recording.